welcome, Fraser.
Thank you.
The hypnotist to my car. It's my turn. It's my turn
It's
to
your
get
turn.
Fraser. I know.
I feel like I'm just going round Scotland hypnotising all the different podcasters. It's like, it's your turn today, it's your turn today.
And the influencers, you had your big day on Tuesday, which is a big secret.
Oh my
Nobody
goodness.
knows anything
That
about
was
it.
mental. It was crazy. At one point, Ravy Davy was trying to do a backflip off a table, and Hawaii 5-0 obviously didn't want to be outdone, decided to do another backflip, and I was just like, I'm gonna get sued. Career's over. I'm gonna get sued.
I know somebody will get injured, but I noticed you're insured anyway. I just want to say, so I have to say this. I deliberately, we've been talking since March now, right? And this has been on the card since March.
I've stalked you since March.
And you've done, I've stalked you, boy, by the way.
That's hilarious.
And you have done loads of podcasts.
Yep.
And I don't know if you noticed, I deliberately avoided them. And the reason I deliberately avoided them was because I want to find out for myself, after you, what it is that you do, right?
Do it.
Because I said to you, I've been hypnotised 3 times before.
Oh, have you? Tell me about that. Where was that?
What do you call it when it's somebody not the show type people? Is it clinical?
A clinical hypnotherapist, yeah.
Right, so I've been to 3 of them, and it was for public speaking because, believe it or not, I would not even be able to do this if it wasn't for that. So I'm a massive advocate of hypnotherapy. I'm a massive advocate of anything about the mind, by the way. Absolutely anything. I'm not just saying that for this. I am totally. I believe in rewiring the brain, you know, anything to do with the mind, I'm totally up for it. So I think that is why
you wanted it.
It worked for me. It worked. But in saying that, right, I look at the shit that you're doing and go, that wasn't what happened to me. And then I question it. Like, I say hypnotherapy did work for me, right? But I'm now questioning, did I really have hypnotherapy? Because I look at what you do and you're knocking people out, man.
Well,
and that's not what happens.
Well, it's completely different, right? So, it's different and it's the same. So if you think about it, with hypnotherapy, you didn't have the confidence to do public speaking, right? Obviously now you're a fantastic speaker. Whether that is just you creating the online version of yourself, but you're still being able to complete that task.
Yes.
So everything strains from a thought creates a feeling creates a behaviour, right? So if you think about something, then you feel a certain way and then you behave a certain way. So quick example, if you think you're going to have anxiety, you'll start to feel nervous, you'll then stop to do tasks. That might be going out the front door, getting in the car, having a shower that day, whatever it is you're nervous about, okay? So your body reacts to it. So change the thought process. I'm not going to think I'm going to be anxious, so therefore you'll stop feeling anxious, therefore you'll stop sweating, and then you'll maybe go out your door and do whatever you have to do. So when you went to see your hypnotherapist, they were changing your thought process and how you felt about public speaking, right? They created this belief factor with you, so you could now believe that you could do it, and obviously it's been very successful. We're doing the exact same thing. So all you were doing during your hypnotherapy was concentrating and focus and eliminating distraction and focusing on what the therapist was saying to you. All the volunteers are doing when they're on stage with me is eliminating distraction, focusing on one thing, which just tends to be the suggestion I'm giving them, and ignoring everything else. So there's no difference. Now, you're going to say, well, there's a big difference between somebody licking their shoe and doing public speaking, right? There's not. I'll tell you there's not. I'll tell you why.
I get it. I'm getting all flustered. Oh my God.
I'll tell you why. Because you wanted to come over your fear of public speaking. That person wanted to go up on stage. I don't pick people for hypnosis shows, they volunteer. When you step onto the stage, you have signed a subliminal contract that says, I want to be here, take me.
Yeah.
So
I did read that, and that's a huge part of it because that affects the mind. I don't think people really, and I didn't understand how much of the mind is actually involved in it, right? For the moment you step into the door, I step through the door to one of your shows, you know, everything that's going on in the mind is having an impact on what's then going to play out.
Take it even broader, everyday life. The moment you wake up, some days you wake up feeling brilliant, some days you wake up feeling crap. The days you wake up feeling crap, you probably perform less, do less. The days you wake up feeling amazing, then you're really productive. So take the hypnosis shows away from it. Everybody's doing this, and I think the scientific experiment is that actually everybody goes in and out of trance 7 to 10 times a day.
I know.
So have you ever worked in an office or anything before? Have you ever worked
I'm
around people?
So.
Have you? Right. Have you ever been in the office and just looked around the office and somebody's like this? Just completely tranced out their head, just not even with it. Or you might shout on them and you'll be like, they're just ignoring you and they're like, what? What is it? Where's their mind then? Where's their conscious mind then?
I get it, and I know, and I read about it, and even, like, the best example I can think of, I can be driving home.
Yep.
And be totally, fully aware of safety and driving and whatever, you know, not being a risk,
right.
But suddenly go, shit, where am I going? Where am I? Like, I'm so zoned out. And apparently that is self-hypnosis. I can't even get my words out. I'm so flipping hyper about this.
Don't worry. It's so it's a thing called highway hypnosis, and it's the same if you miss your exit or you get in your car, do the same journey. It might be the school run. Have you ever got in your car at your front door and then just arrived at the school? Don't remember your journey, you just arrived. Somehow you're just like, oh, how'd I get here? Don't remember driving here. Where was your conscious mind then? What happens is your subconscious mind just takes over and your conscious mind goes for a wee holiday, and you just arrive there. I
went to take Lola at her friend's house last night and ended up going to the school. I was halfway to the school and I went, oh my God, where am I going? Yep. So, yeah, totally, I get that. Right, but what do you do, Fraser?
What do I do?
Is it a secret? Is it like being a magician? You can't tell the secrets of what you do. No. I want to know, because we can't see what you're doing to get that person's mind where you need it to be. I mean, to me, it just looks like you click your finger or you make the clicking noise and that's it.
Do you want to give it a go?
I would do it. I feel like...
Give the clicking noise a go.
I feel like if I don't do it, people will be like so disappointed.
See, if you don't do the clicking noise and it's horrendous, it's turning into a meme.
Right, so are we safe? That's the first thing. Is everyone safe to do it?
You're absolutely safe. Go. Right. Try the clicking noise.
So what do I need to do?
No, I just want to hear your noise. That's a good attempt. Right, we'll maybe hypnotise you at the end.
Right. So we're not taking the note.
The fact you've been hypnotised means you're 80% more likely to go in faster, quicker and deeper than you ever had. Reason for that is that your subconscious mind remembers how relaxing, safe, controlled and warm it felt to be in that state, and we're literally just refreshing your memory.
Yeah.
So the way hypnosis works is I need to keep a constant rapport with you, whether that be, so I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, so I do clients in the therapy room. I also do corporate work to help businesses kind of set goals and get the best out of their employees and become the best versions of themselves.
I love
and then
all
I
that
have
as well.
So that's the kind of keynote certified clinical hypnotherapist side, and for that I had to do a 2-year diploma and get certified and do exams and all that stuff. Stage hypnosis is completely self-learned. The mentalism stuff, completely self-learned. That is just hours and hours of practice. So I might learn something and then it'll take me 4 months to develop it. It might be all about showmanship, and it's the way I'm going to put a message into your mind. There's a lot of subliminal messaging through it, there's a lot of misdirection through it, and there's a lot of, I suppose, I'm trying to read signals off of you, so it's like small microfilament movements. So when I'm asking you questions or whatnot, depending how you answer, communication is built up through body language, tone, and it's actually only 7% of the words that we speak is communication. So the rest is all body language and tone, which gives me a lot to go off of to find out answers to blow your mind with. Does that make sense?
I've got to be the perfect candidate for you, man. Got to be.
Absolutely.
See if it doesn't work, I'll be gutted.
See if it doesn't work, I'm signing off. I'm out the job. Out the job.
Right, but see, do you not think even with like psychic people, it's a lot of that you're talking about?
So now,
I'm not saying you're psychic.
No, the psychic world's going to hate me for this, so I don't personally believe in that stuff. Now, I'll tell you why, because there's a thing called cold reading. So there's cold reading. So I'll give you an example. I remember seeing a psychic years ago, and she said to this lady in the audience, somebody's coming through. She was Liverpudlian, right? I can't do a Liverpudlian accent, but she's Liverpudlian. Someone's coming through. Somebody stands up. She says, is it somebody you've lost? Now, if you get anybody over the age of 30 or whatnot, they're probably going to experience loss in their life, whether it be a gran, an auntie, or somebody's passed away. I said, yeah, my auntie. She said, oh, she's coming through, my love. she's given me this phone number. It's 07. She's away, but she says she sends a love. Like all numbers start with a 07. It's like, do you know? So there's different stuff like that. I'm sure there is genuine mediums out there, but I could frame myself as a medium if I wanted to, because I've got some cold reading skills.
That is what I mean, though. Like the part. So this, like, medium's probably the better way to describe it, because
mediums.
I do medium. We say in Scotland medium, not medium.
It's probably me that's wrong.
Medium. No, you're right. In Scotland, it's just how we speak. So I do think that there's a lot of that is about, well, in fact, most of it is about the mind. I do think that is why I'm asking you that. Not because I think dead people are coming to you or whatever. I think there's a lot of that whole...
There is a lot to see with. So, do you know what a mentalist is?
Well, it's to do with the mind, somebody that works with the mind.
Yeah, it's almost like I always call it like a psychological illusionist or magic for your mind, basically. So I'm not a magician. I don't do card tricks. I can't shuffle a deck of cards. There's no secrets to the stuff I do. The stuff I do is all person profiling. If I want to find out information about you, I need to work for that. There's not like oh, here's my answer, I'm going to fool somebody for it. And a lot of people frame me as a magician a lot of the time, and it's completely the opposite. It's miles apart. So I'm all about tapping into communications and the stories and how we communicate, but not so much the story you're telling me, but the story that I'm telling myself and how I interpret the words that you're telling me. Does that make sense? So I'm kind of looking at it on a deeper level, and then when you start to build these bonds and subconscious connections with people, especially in a stage or a theatre environment, incredible things can happen. I remember when I was doing with the influencers, somebody was doing a drawing and I was just listening for the way her pen was writing and the way she answered stuff and described it, built up colours in my mind, and we actually ended up getting the same drawing when I was back to back and blindfolded and people standing around me, which is awesome. Wow. And you create these moments that look like magic but aren't, if that makes sense.
It's just the power of the mind.
Power of connection with everybody. And then when the hypnosis side is, you kind of have 5 different brainwave patterns. So number 1, there is Greek mythology and all this too, but I won't go into that. So we'll just call it brain pattern number 1. So brain pattern number 1 is your fight or flight system. So if somebody was going to rob you, whether you freeze or whether you react, whether you punch them in the face. Brainwave pattern number 2 is what we're in. Just your kind of everyday, stressful, day-to-day life, you know, sitting in a car park at Starbucks, listening to a hypnotist talk a lot of shite. Brainwave pattern 3 is if you've ever been watching a movie and felt the emotion in the movie, even though you know it's fake, but you've invested and you've convinced yourself in your belief system that is real to you in that moment, you feel that emotion, that's a form of hypnosis, but with your eyes open. Another example is if you're scrolling on your phone and somebody's sitting beside you shouting on your name, but you don't hear them until they come and whack you on the head. How can your brain plug out somebody's voice sitting right beside you? Again, eliminating distraction, focus and concentration, right? That's hypnosis. Brainwave 4 is that, but on a deeper level with your eyes shut, so that there's taking away one of your senses so that you can focus and concentrate more. And then what do you think brainwave pattern 5 is?
When you're asleep.
When you're asleep. So a lot of people think, because we say the word sleep, that you're going to be sleeping, you're going to be unconscious, you're not going to hear anything. It's not like that at all. And with you being hypnotised before, you can probably relate and say, yes, it is relaxing and whatnot, but you can still hear everything that's going on around you. You just choose to focus and concentrate on what's happening in that moment, or whoever's speaking to you, connecting with you.
Right, so in a stage environment then, how do you build up that connection before you invite people up to the stage?
Perfect, lovely question.
I've got hundreds of questions.
I love it. Okay, so think about it, right? So I'm headlining the Edinburgh Fringe on the 15th to the 27th.
I will share the life out between now and August.
Shameless plug.
I will get on the stage as well.
That's all right. It'd be wicked.
So
if you think about it, so for example,
if you
shows.
Love me, obviously, probably a million people wanting to go.
You're a very special person. I'm sure I can get you some free tickets. Don't worry. So if you imagine, so that show's now away in August. So we're doing 13 nights of August. So all the posters and stuff are already made up. It's already in the Fringe brochure. It's on the Fringe website. It's on the PR company's website. I've started sharing it on social media.
People I have shared it as well.
Yeah, people are getting excited about it. People are starting to see it. So what happens is it starts to create this buzz, and then people are like, oh, will I get tickets? Will I not? So then people buy tickets for the show, which is their own hard-earned cash. Now, you don't tend to purchase something unless you have an interest for it. So everybody that turns up to the show has took time off work or set time aside in their busy schedule to make sure they can make that show. They've also spent their own money. So there has to be a want there. They either want to see people getting hypnotised, or they are curious about being hypnotised themselves. Okay, so you have 50% interested, 50% that just want to watch. Of that 50% that are interested, I then come up and speak to everybody and take away all the fears and phobias of, it's not mind control, you're not going to do this, I can't make anybody do this, blah 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 blah. So then those doubts of, oh, I was interested in being hypnotised but I was scared in case this has happened, that's now been eliminated. So now it leaves you with only one option. Oh, I'll need to come up and volunteer. I don't pick people, they volunteer, so then they're signing the contract of, I want to be there. Anybody that wants to be hypnotised will be hypnotised. That's just how it goes. The want of the belief system, if you've invested enough. I then do some psychological testing with the people up on stage, and from there I can see who responds really well, who's got a great imagination, who's going to be animated for the show, because anybody can be hypnotised, but it's a certain percentage of people that are really good for show, because I don't just need people hypnotised, I need people who are going to be very entertaining on the show. So for the first bit, I'm thinking about all these things, putting people in placement and orders to make sure that it's looking best for the audience while doing the psychological testing, while remembering in my head who I'm going to use for what later on. So lots happening in my head, whereas I just look as if I'm just walking around.
You're profiling people. The minute somebody gets up on the stage, you're sussing them out as much as you can.
Absolutely.
And see all that, like the whole psychological testing, I don't see you doing anything off camera or off stage or anything. Do you do it all in front of people so they can see it happening?
The only time we don't do stuff on camera is if it's for television, purely because you don't want people at home getting hypnotised. That's it. Everything else is completely live. So if you come see my show, I do everything into the microphone. I don't do anything off board or away. You'll see absolutely everything. And you're right, technically, if you repeated that to the T and done exactly how I done it, you would hypnotise somebody.
So we would need to do that off camera?
No, like because, so difference, because you've been hypnotised before, I don't actually need to do a full induction with you. I can just put you right under in about 10 seconds. 10 seconds and you'll just go. So the good thing about that is, once you've been hypnotised before, you're 80% more likely to go deeper, faster, even more. If you want to, of course. If somebody didn't want to, then it's a bit different.
I do. I'm a wee bit apprehensive, but I think that's understandable.
Tell me why you're apprehensive.
Just because I've never been hypnotised, I don't think to the level that you do it. But I'm still going to
Tell me about your therapy session. What happened?
So the first one, it was a guy, and I travelled for that, and I felt like when I came away, I felt amazing after it. That is one thing.
Can I ask you a quick question? See, when you went to go see your hypnotherapist, now the reason I'm saying this is because this is my pet hate. I have a lot of people that come to me for hypnotherapy and they say, oh, I've seen a hypnotherapist before, but it just didn't work. And I say, right, okay, no worries, absolutely fine. Ask a wee bit more background. Then I say, did you ask for proof of insurance? Did you ask to see their diploma or their qualification to see if they're registered with the governing bodies? Oh no, I never thought of that. Well, the odds are they're probably not a certified clinical hypnotherapist. And I don't know, if you're going to go see a personal trainer or a physiotherapist, you'd go see a qualified one. Why would you treat your mental health any differently? So if you're going to see a hypnotherapist, please check up, do your research, make sure they are who they are.
Right, the other thing is, well, just to add on to what you're saying, I noticed way back in your page you were treating people for things like stopping smoking.
Still do.
All of that. So I just wanted to put that out there. So you're still taking requests to do that type of thing? Yes,
so it's a wee bit different now. Things are getting busier.
And anxiety, I noticed that was there.
Anxiety is a massive one.
I know you've got your own story and we won't come
No, absolutely. Anxiety is probably the biggest, it's probably the hardest one as well, because a lot of people will come to me and say, how much for an anxiety session? And I say, well, so anxiety is a minimum of 4 sessions, because you have no idea what you're going to be diving into. I might need to do child regression, I might need to do psychodynamic analysis. People might have trauma because a lot of people come to me and they say, I don't know why I'm anxious. So now it's my job to go figure out the root of that. That's not going to happen in one session and fixing you in one session. Absolutely no way, because of that anxiety, there might be a couple of things built up to that. So you need to take things in little parts, and it's a partnership of working with your therapist. And I will set you targets to achieve every week, and then if you're not quite there, then we go back and focus on it and spend more time. So anxiety can be anything from 4 sessions to 2-3 months. It just literally depends on how severe or what's going on. And I'm quite a stickler when I take on clients. I have a consultation form. I don't just take anybody, because you'll get people that, for example, stop smoking. One person's just had a heart attack, they hate the smell, they hate the taste, they've seen the doctor, they really need to stop, and they just can't break the habit. And then you'll have another person that enjoys a cigarette, but the wife's booked them £100 voucher to come see me because they want them to stop smoking. Who's it going to work for? Person one, you need to be in the right mindset for therapy.
I totally agree with
and
that.
I don't take anybody on that's not there, because although it's a business, my passion's helping people and become the best version. That's what I absolutely love. So I'll happily turn people away again and again and again if you're not quite ready for it.
Yeah, if you don't believe in it, it definitely doesn't work. So
because it's just taking your money, and I feel bad.
Yeah, there is a bit of a moral compass there. The thing about you is you are a fully qualified mental therapist. That's what you are. And it's not just about the showman.
No.
You actually, and I discovered that when I did my stalking. But so when I went to my first hypnotherapy session, I didn't feel it immediately as in, oh, I think I'm fixed. That's me fixed. And I didn't feel it immediately after the next 2 either, but I went to somebody different for the next 2. And I did feel more of an impact after those 2 than I did the first one. But I do think the first one did still have its impact, but it wasn't as good. And what I would also say is it's a kind of realisation. It's not like you're just suddenly absolutely shit hot. Well, for me it wasn't. That's how I felt. I was like, I'm not immediately amazing at this,
That's
but
so
I can do it. But as time has went on, and even now 3 years down the line since I last had it, I still think to myself, that is still working on me. That is still getting better.
We'll give you a wee top up today. Absolutely.
Getting better and improving.
That's the thing. A lot of people think, oh my goodness, it's a magic wand. Now, for things like stop smoking, yes, in an hour, you're done. Phobias and fears, yes, in an hour, you're done. I had somebody that came to me, couldn't get on a plane for 10 years without getting absolutely hammered because they were just such an anxious flyer. Came to see me, an hour, done. Went on a flight about a week later. Same with somebody coming to the dentist, same with somebody wanted to stop smoking. But that's because my process is so tight to get in. I make sure you're ready for it, and amazing things can happen. But with therapy, there's no guarantee. I'm not a doctor. I'm not handing you medication. You're doing all the work. And the crazy thing is, this is my favourite thing about therapy, is when the client realises that it's not me, it's them. I'm just helping you discover your underlying potential that you've always had. I'm just helping you become the best version of yourself. So it's nothing to do with me. You're doing it all. I'm just like your wee tour guide with a map, helping you get there. Because everybody has this inner mental strength that they don't even know we had. You just need to find it.
Right, so my next question is, what is it that you do that helps the client get into that space? Because I struggle sometimes with it myself. But how? I want to know more. How? I want to know exactly what it is that you're doing in their mind. This is where it raises the question.
Right.
Is it like a magician? Is it a secret? You can't share that.
No. Depending what it's for. This is funny because the last podcast I was on, they've now decided they'll be amazing Alex, and then you're doing this, and then I'll go on something later on. I'm going to be out the job, but no, there's no secret to it. So, for example,
don't think you will be. There's not many people can take a stage and go, I'm going to hypnotise. No way. But I do want to be able to do it to a certain extent to myself.
Of course. Well, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Absolutely 100%. And I have first-hand experience for that, for changing my own mindset. So, for example, let me think of something easy. So for chronic back pain, right? People come and see me for chronic back pain. So for those of you who aren't aware what chronic back pain is, it's a pain that's accumulated over years and years and years, okay? You get acute pain, which is something very sharp, like breaking your wrist, and then you get chronic pain, which is that kind of achy, nummy feeling for years and years and years, right? So, acute pain, you broke your wrist. You go to the doctors, they bandage you up, you feel a lot better, your wrist is healed. However, you will find people, and you'll know them, oh, I've got a bad wrist. I've got a bad wrist. Since I broke my hand 34 years ago, I've got a bad wrist. Now, they've been completely medically discharged, okay? The bones have re-healed, everything's developed, but what happens is they've created a pattern of behaviour that's been learnt. They've learnt that that was sore at the time, so it's always going to be sore. They've convinced themselves that it will always be sore. So, what my job is to come and undo that learned behaviour of pattern. Now, for you to receive pain, for you to receive and feel pain, you see if you touch something hot, you will get pain receivers that will go through all the way there, send a wee signal through your central nervous system, which will go up to your brain. Your brain then sends a signal back to your central nervous system, which then comes out to your pain receivers, and then you feel pain. It happens very quickly like that, but it needs to do this movement, okay? It needs to go all the way in to come all the way out. So with chronic pain, again, the signal's not there, but because you're a learnt behaviour, it will send a signal that you think you're going to be going through pain, and then my job is I change the signal coming back out. That was a very complicated way of just saying we change the signal.
That still doesn't explain it. No. So what do you do to create that change? Is there a secret I think there is a secret. Is there a secret technique?
Okay, right, I think I know what you're asking. What do? I tap into people's subconscious mind and give them suggestions, because your subconscious mind is always more powerful than your conscious mind. It makes you highly suggestible, so when you put suggestions in it, you will tend to follow it.
And is it purely from what you say? You are changing that is it, from what you say.
Oh no, I hand out £20 notes and say,
just answer the question.
What do you mean, is it just what you say?
Is it just like people are going under like that, right? As I keep saying,
right?
Like
let me explain this then, right? Okay, so you wonder how people just drop.
Aye.
Right. Okay. Cool. So, and you see this on stage. I'll do a thing called a hypnotic induction. Hypnotic induction is a way to induce somebody into a state of subconsciousness for hypnosis, right? That's probably anywhere between a 3 to 5 minute process. After that hypnotic state is induced, you are then at a level of deepness that you will then follow suggestions. I will then give the suggestion that anytime I say the word sleep, you will instantly immediately go back into this wonderful state of relaxation. That's when I and only I say the word sleep. You're going already. You're going to be great in a minute.
I can feel it.
Right?
I can feel it.
And that is a suggestion. Now remember, what happens when we're in hypnosis? We're highly suggestible. So when I say sleep, you're just following a suggestion. The same as if I was to say when you wake up, you won't be a smoker. Just the same as if I say when you wake up, your hand will be stuck to your head. It's only a suggestion. So I could say, the next time I say the word disco ball, you'll instantly immediately go back into this wonderful state. It's not, we just say the word sleep because that's what hypnotists are known for. It doesn't mean anything, but that's what it is. It's just a suggestion.
And it is just the words and phrases and everything that you use that puts the...
So I speak in a thing called hypnotic language patterns. Which
Don't even start it, you're giving me goosebumps.
No. which will make absolutely no sense
to your...
Will make absolutely no sense to your conscious mind. But subconsciously you'll see things in absolutely vivid, clear detail.
Right, before we start on me though, I want your story as well. So you've answered that. I was really curious to that.
Does that kind of explain it?
It does. And also, I think the fact that some people don't go under, and I did know this anyway, and it comes down to not being up for it. Yeah,
so I can be the most amazing hypnotist in the world. If you don't want to be hypnotised, you will never be hypnotised. The want must be there. Everybody can be hypnotised, but just to what degree? Okay, does that make sense? So people on stage, I'm looking for the top 2.5% in a room. People for hypnotherapy, doesn't matter. Because as well as being a hypnotist, I'm also a qualified therapist. So you coming in and seeing a therapist without the hypnosis will have just as much benefit to you with having the hypnosis. The hypnosis just helps to lock things in. So if you were to go see a therapist for public speaking, you would come away from it feeling the benefit. So whether somebody is highly suggestible and going into hypnosis, they're still going to get therapy from me, whether they go deep under or not. So it's still going to be very beneficial.
And when I think back to what I had, that's what I do think that it was. Yeah. But I really don't know.
Well, we'll find out.
Right, so your story, because you're just a young guy. You're in your 20s.
I'm 28 now, man. I'm pushing on.
You're still only
honestly,
in your 20s. I'm old enough to be your mom.
I keep saying that closer into 30, that's scary.
Oh,
it's scary.
And look
horrible.
How well you're doing, right? But looking back...
Christmas was good to me. This is a bad angle. We need to change this.
Looking back on your page, you've actually only recently changed to the stage show thing.
Yes.
You were a clinical therapist and you were helping with coaching and training and whatever.
Completely. This has been the last 5 years. 5 years of my life. I wasn't doing any of this 5 years ago.
You're not even hypnotherapy, clinical hypnotherapy?
Clinical hypnotherapy, probably about 7 years.
Right.
7 years.
And
about 2 years before it.
Let's go back right to the beginning. In fact, how did you get into it? Does that link into your story, your mental health story?
Yeah, absolutely. Right, and again, that's why a lot of people came and seen me as a therapist, because the reason I got into it and stuff like that, well, not even hypnosis, but the reason I kind of got into education and wanting to help people and all that stuff was when I was at school, I went seeing counsellors and psychologists, and I just couldn't relate to them because they were very much older and I was just a young boy, and they hadn't been bullied a day in their life, and I thought, I just can't relate to you, and you handing me a colouring in sheet, getting me to count to 10 is just not going to solve my problems. So I was just like, when I leave, I want to do something that I can help fill that void that I had in my life, because I felt like I was let down by the system, because my bullying kind of started from about age 8. People
and
used to throw...
bullying? Was it bullying that
it's bullying that kind of made me... It's bullying that affected me and made me get into suicide. That was everything to do with it. So from about age 8, I was getting rocks thrown at me, going home from school. I was getting hate mail from about age 9, 10, 11. I got jumped by 15 people off a bridge when I was 13, and that's when I decided to start wearing makeup, fake tan, concealer, because I used to... Even older people, I would be on the bus at 12 years old and people just come up to me and say, you look like a vampire. I was at a concert and somebody threw a drink over my face because I thought I was so pale that I had talcum powder on my face, or it's just... And when you get told things often enough, of course your mum says you're beautiful, I love you, but that doesn't help you when the rest of the world is telling you that you suck. And when people tell you that you suck long enough, and it's hard for me because I wasn't bullied for being fat or poor, I was simply being bullied for existing, something that was out of my control, my disability, that's just something I was born with. So that just left me feeling so empty and angry and frustrated in life that I was like, I just wanted to walk down the street and not be seen. That's all I wanted. So from about Fraser, 14...
Sorry to interrupt, what's your disability?
Oh, so albinism and visually impaired.
Albino?
Aye, albino, yep. So that's what I was bullied for, was for being albino. Literally nothing else. Just
and you're visually impaired, what do you mean?
So visually impaired, so I can't drive. So it's basically like being very short-sighted.
Alright, okay, so how did you get here when you said your car was over there?
I get drove.
Did you?
I don't drive, no, I'm not allowed to drive. Oh no, I'd crash the car, you're joking?
Oh
absolutely.
Right.
Although, I could drive, just not legally.
How do you see the people? And how can you see
me? I know I can still see you, but what happens is I'll miss out details. So like right now I can't see your eye colour and stuff like that. So and it'd be like if you were standing 10 metres away from me and holding up fingers, I couldn't tell you. I could see your hand, but I couldn't identify like the gap. So it looked like that to me rather than like that or whatever's going on. So it's like finer details I miss. So for example, when I used to walk down the town centre, people would shout on me, I'd turn around and they're away. They're away before I've even noticed it. Or I don't know if people are smiling or not happy, which can sometimes be a good or a bad thing, but it's just like small details like that you miss out in life. So anyway, 14, started dyeing my hair, wearing makeup, just because I wanted to walk down the street. And that worked for me, or was my coping mechanism for about 10 to 13 years. And then sticking with that whole you want to make a difference thing, I was at university studying to be a primary school teacher. I was working as a nursery teacher at the time, and then I was at university and I got diagnosed with dyslexia. I had some problems at home and everything just kind of hit me. I was like, I'm just living the biggest lie in the whole world. For 13 years I've just been covering up who I am. I'm so unhappy. I was working a job that I didn't enjoy, I wasn't passionate about, because I wanted to get this end goal of helping people, and then I was like, how can I even help people if I'm not even helping myself, you know? and I just recently moved out and bought my first flat, so I was absolutely skint, because that's what happens when you first buy your own place. You're skint. And I remember that summer holidays, I've always been fascinated with Derren Brown, loved what he'd done, and a psychologist called Anthony Gailey, right? I just thought, this is incredible, because I thought, like everybody else, it's actors, it's stooges, it's a lot of nonsense, and it wasn't. I always thought I'd love to be able to do this stuff, especially because I was underconfident. I was probably searching in a way for something that would draw people to me, if that makes sense, to give me attention, that attention that I was craving. And I believe every performer craves attention some way, shape or form, you know. It's like I'm not centre of attention, but yeah, I want to step on stage and get applauded every night. Of course you do. Self-gratification, right? So I started looking into hypnosis and what it was, and I ended up just watching it for hours upon hours upon hours, buying any audio book or normal book or YouTube, and the stage stuff was all self-taught to begin with. And I remember the very first time I hypnotised somebody, I was getting a haircut in my barber's, and for some reason hypnosis came up, and I was like, I'm a hypnotist. And they're like, what? I'm like, I'm a hypnotist.
Were you joking, or did you believe that you were?
Nah,
at that point?
Totally ballsed it, right? So anyway, so he says, nah, and I went, mate, I am a hypnotist, you know, just confident. And then he's like, fine, hypnotise me. And I went, all right, no worries. Sat in the chair for the rest of the haircut like that. What have you done? Why did you do it? Why did you open your mouth? You could have just got your haircut and went home. But no, you said it. So anyway, so that was fine. So after it, so I'd been watching this training DVD. I think I'd watched it 142 times, right? Just an hours long DVD. I'd watched it 142 times.
To learn how to
learn the words, learn the hypnotic language patterns to a T. Didn't know what any of it meant at this point, but I learnt it to a T. And I'd done exactly what I'm going to do with you in 5 minutes time. And this guy just went, woof. And I was like, oh my God, this shit
Did you catch
works.
him so he was safe in that? Though?
Oh no, I always gave that stuff. So anyway, so he's fine. He was in his chair, right? He's in his chair. And he just went, woof. And I just went, my goodness. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, yeah, deeper again. As if I'd done it a million times, just totally faking it. And anyway, so I woke him back up. And I remember,
were you totally shocked that you managed
in my head
to do
I went, oh my God, what's happened here? I've just put somebody unconscious. This is how little I knew about hypnosis at the time. I was like, oh my God, I've just put somebody to sleep, what's going on? Then I was like, shit, what if he doesn't wake up? Something like that. Wakey, 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 wakey. I think that was it. Wakey, wakey was my wake up thing for him. So anyway, woke up, and then after that I thought, shit, this stuff works. So when I was going through the depression and everything, when I'd first moved out, I ended up not washing, not lifting the blinds, and just having this absolute disaster of a breakdown. But before I got to that stage, I was in the pub and I started to hypnotise some of my mates, and I remember people asking me, they were like, oh, could you come do this party or do this party? And I was like, it's not really a business or anything, but yeah, I'll look into it. Meanwhile, still struggling with my own battle of mental health, and it got to the point where I was just so unhappy with myself. I didn't know what I wanted to do. We were coming back up to going back to school, and I was just really anxious and nervous about it. And I just decided, I was just like, I thought about suicide probably from about the first time I was about age 10, age 12. And I always thought, I'll never do it because the impact you leave behind on your family, and your mum, obviously being a mum yourself, that's the worst thing your child could ever tell you. And then it just got to the point for me where I was like, it was too painful to be going through this every single day. I remember saying in another podcast, and it's the same message, that I was looking at everybody's life going up and mine was just completely static. On the outside, you'd think I was the most confident person in the world. I was going to the gym 6 days a week. I was a personal trainer, and inside I was just absolutely crumbling. I was so unhappy in everything, and I just came to the point where I phoned my mum up and I says, 3 days time I'm going to commit suicide, don't stop me or I'll never speak to you ever again. Which makes no sense, because if I was going to commit suicide, I'd never speak to her again. So anyway, she came round and whatnot, and I'd signed myself off work.
Do you think that was a cry for help?
Well, somebody said this to me, and at the time, I didn't think it was, but knowing more on what I know in mental health now, it absolutely was, because if I was so certain about it, I wouldn't have even mentioned it to anyone. I would have just went. But that was my cry for help. And I remember speaking to my brother that night, and I just remember offloading And he said something that he said to me, he said, "You're not depressed." And that really caught me off, because up until that point, people were really model coddling me, and it's the first time anybody challenged me to be like, "No, you're not, you can do this. Like, let's get you." And again, at the end of the call, it was very reassuring and loving, right? But just that initial bam, I was just like, "What do you mean? I'm committing suicide. Don't tell me I'm not depressed," like, kind of thing. And I was just so blown away. And he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to be a hypnotist." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, I want to be a hypnotist." And he says, "Well, do it then." And I says, "No, I can't. I'm skint. I've got no funding for a business, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "You're giving me millions of reasons as to why you're not going to do it." He says, "But you're not focusing on the one reason as to why you should, and that's your own happiness." And I thought, shit, you're right. You're absolutely right. So that night, I went to bed and I thought, I've been hypnotising everybody. I know a wee bit more about hypnosis. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Let's give this a go. Let's see if it works. And the next day, I gave myself the suggestion of "I am enough." That was it. 3 simple words.
I thought at that point, or would you call it hypnosis?
No, I definitely, so I'd done the full relaxation and everything for it. But at the same time, I was just thinking to myself, I am enough. And then I just went off to sleep that night, not thinking it was anything more than, as you say, I thought of what it was. The next morning I woke up and I just had this undesirable desire to shave off my hair and just be me. Shaved off all my hair, binned off all my fake tan and makeup. Now, I used to spend £300 to £400 a month on makeup, fake tan and dye my hair. If I had one white hair, I wouldn't go out that weekend. Plans cancelled, nothing. And I just shaved it all off the next day. And I've never ever looked back. And from that moment, I cancelled my sick line from work, went straight back, saved up £3,500 of my own money while working full time to pay for my diploma to study privately, got my certification, got my insurance, and then my brother gave me an opportunity to do a hypnosis show at his business awards evening, and I'd done it, and I remember feeling sick in the morning, but I'd done it, and I'd done some theatre when I was younger, and it was the first time in honestly about 10 to 12 years that I just forgot about how I looked, and I just felt completely free. And I thought, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And luckily enough, just before COVID, the kind of Daily Record and stuff got a hold of it. I got invited onto radio, and then here we are 5 years later, hypnotising influencers. I presented in America at a conference. I'm doing the Fringe Festival, and I've got my first theatre tour lined up. So it's been absolutely mental.
How did you get the Fringe? How did that happen? Like, what are you doing now? Have you got an agent? Like, how did you go from that zero to hero? And I know you're still on your path.
We're still on the path. It's not there. See, when you're doing well in life, look to somebody to your right and they're way up there.
But don't do that. Don't compare yourself.
So how did this come about? Working at my bloody tits off. That's how it came about. I've been working 2 jobs, 12-hour shifts, sometimes getting up at 6 in the morning, doing an 8 in the morning till 8 at night, then doing calls with America, borrowing a lot of money off family and friends to help surround myself with business mentors, writing. I think I've sent over 15 to 20,000 emails. And
I saw that in one of your posts.
All of that, you probably get 2 or 3 returns, you know. It's just never giving up. Consistency. The best thing I've ever had about my business is your network. Your network really is your net worth. I put myself in every network meeting, even if it's nothing to do with hypnosis, and go in and I simply do this with people. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a high five. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. Give me a thumbs up. Follow along. High five. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Okay sign. Put it on your chin. Your chin's here. Something simple. Power of suggestion, right? But they all now remember that. Who's that? And then you just start to build it up and all the rest of it. And then an agent came about because I had to get all my assets together and find out some of the news articles I'd been on radio, because an agent wants to think, how can I make money out of you? What's the difference between you and somebody else? Well, me, I am my USP. I was completely different from anything else that's out there. So I got an agent, but again, even agents don't do a lot for you. Most of my work is me. Most of my work is completely self-represented. It's a wee bit different now as things are going up. I still do a lot of stuff myself. I'm still chapping on doors, networking, reaching out to people. People are now reaching out to me because you see with social media, and that does help, and going viral is luck. But I always say it takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
My husband says that. I saw that in one of your posts. It gave me goosebumps. I say that all the time. It annoys Keith. So Keith's been in business 30 odd years.
What's he do?
Need
any entertainment?
Well, I don't actually. Nah. It doesn't. But I will tell you.
I'll see in 5 minutes time. You will go home and say to Keith.
I don't share what he does on social media purely because I don't want to invite the
world.
I don't. He's busy enough.
I want invited, Mary.
He's
absolutely
so overly busy that I don't share it on social media.
Did Gary get an invite? Gary get an invite. I want an invite. Gary, if you're watching.
No, Gary doesn't even know what he does. I don't think he asked. Because I don't want to be, we don't need to attract business that way. I'm very, very fortunate and grateful that that's the position Keith's in. He's been in business for 20 odd years. So I don't put it out because I'm not trying to, it's not for the business. It's not what I do.
You don't need clout. You don't need your platform clout to get in business.
Yeah, no, totally and in fact, it's the complete opposite. I don't need you to do that. It'd be a disaster because he couldn't cope.
Just a hint.
So,
is it building? Manufacturing.
I'll tell you off camera, for goodness sake, Fraser.
See if I get new branding out.
So he's none like that. It's so disappointing. You're going to be so disappointed when I tell you.
Listen, I had a friend that made loads of money selling doorstops. Doorstop guy.
Do that either.
Oh, brilliant.
But anyway, what was I saying? That quote, he gets annoyed at people talking about overnight success because he'll say that doesn't exist. Overnight success takes 10 years. And I saw that on one of your posts and I was like, this was just last night. Oh my God.
I've recently, and it's only been in the last couple of months, as you say, when people see, oh my goodness, you're working with this influencer and you're doing this and you've been on this chat show or this paper or that stuff. I think people think you just walk into these things. Like, where were you in 2018 when I was working? You know what I'm saying? Where are you when I'm working 19 hours a day and doing all this stuff? Like, it doesn't just happen. You need to be creative, you need to be standing out from the rest, and it's definitely hard. And I've not even made it yet, not by a long shot, absolutely not. I still have goals and ambitions, but I know that what I'm doing is hopefully reciprocated, you know. It's not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. I'm not here to try and put hypnosis on the map.
No,
I'm
you're
here
not
to
persuading.
Be me, use, I suppose, my brand is for good and try and make a better life for myself. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and I do relate to that because I'm very much quite new even what I'm doing. So I get it. I get what you're saying.
You're 100%. Up there. You're up there.
No, I'm not.
I've seen your engagements.
No, but I'm not. It's like, as you say, although I've just said to you, don't compare yourself. I can look to the person at the right and go, holy smoke, you know, that's podcast success, you know.
That's
so
what keeps you grounded, and that's what keeps you hungry. Yeah. And as you say, don't compare yourself, but compare yourself.
there's a thing, there's something in that comparing yourself, but I think you need to be able to.
I think it's good to compare your business, but not yourself. I think you shouldn't be competing with how you look or your image, or that girl's got benches that much or she's that size. I don't think any of that should be competition, but I definitely think it's healthy to have a look at your brand and what your channel's doing and thinking, right, well, why are they getting more views, or what is it they're doing, kind of thing, and not so much replicating it or doing it, but taking little nuggets and making it your own.
Yeah, and there is something.
I'm not the very first hypnotist in the world to be putting somebody on holiday. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking ideas from the greats and making them into my own.
Yes, and it is actually really difficult to create your own thing because the whole way you're going against the grain, you're going against deemed societal expectations that are okay. You know, you're going against things all the time when you're being yourself, and I totally relate to the thing about you're constantly asking. That was how I started out. You know, the number of people that I've asked to come and chat compared to the number of people that have actually came and chatted. And not everybody needs to, you know, it's fine. It's like you're saying, not everybody needs to be up for it. But it's no easy. And you could easily, it's easier to go, do you know what? Fuck this. I am not doing this anymore. That's the easier
we all get days like that. We all get days like that. You know, especially when we're tired or we're drained. I remember I got my first international thing by completely using artistic license, not lying, just bending the truth a little bit, and then I got that, and that was a big lift up in my profile. I wouldn't have got there the way I got there was I found other successful people, sent them messages on Facebook and says, hey, I love what you do, can I have 10 minutes to pick your brain? I would get on a call with them, because once you get on a call with somebody, it's so much easier. And then I would say to them, and I was looking for an agent at the time, and I was like, oh, I'm really looking for agent representation in America, right? Didn't even have any in the UK at this point, but I thought, I'm shooting for America. I just thought, my goodness, right. Anyway, so there was no.
And you've been over
this is now, but this is how it all gets started. And I'm like, and they were like, no. And what had happened is they're just about to go off the phone call. I would say, right, I know this isn't right for you, but do you have anybody in mind that you could possibly put me in contact with? Oh, this might be great. Can you introduce us? So it's now coming through you. Brilliant. And it wasn't until the fourth person that I eventually got through for the conference. Winged it, sold myself, and then got out there. And that's just from consistency of not giving up. And it's the same when I'm on stage. People say to me, it just looks flawless. Everything's just connecting and all the rest. My show took 1.5 years to write. So you think about it, I've got this massive 80 to 100 page script that I'm creating and writing myself, and then I'm learning it. And then I might learn something to do with mentalism, and I might learn the kind of framework and the process of how to do it in a week. It might take me 4 months to perfect it and show somebody. These things take so long to do, but that's the difference between having a great performance and an amazing performance. And you only get one shot on like cruise ships or a big theatre. If you make an ass of your show and people don't want to come back to it, then your career might not even get off the ground. So I want to go out there every single night, especially when people have paid their hard-earned money, and go, you know what, you're going to get the best bloody show you've ever seen. Whether it's 10 or 1,000, I don't care. Everybody's going to get the same level from me. And I think that's the same with anybody.
Yeah,
I think that's
so
the same
it's
with
commitment. Right, we're at 51 minutes,
Ready?
Fraser.
Well, it's okay, it'll take me about 40 seconds to put you under, so it's absolutely fine.
I hope it works.
You hope it works? Okay, tell me why it wouldn't work.
Listen,
talk to me.
No, just because I'm nervous.
Right, why are you nervous?
Just, I don't know. Is it not normal for people to be nervous if they think they're going to get hypnotised?
No, because you'll remember exactly how it feels. Because you've been hypnotised before. You know what to expect.
I do know the relaxation thing. I'm going to move the camera a wee bit more on me then.
Absolutely fine.
And so what I would say to you is, don't touch it. If anything needs edited, I'll do the editing, right? So when you wake me back up,
but
I'll
you're
turn
going to
it
hear
off.
everything.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Take your glass off.
Right, let's try.
Take your glass off. Excellent. Okay, cool. So we'll try something very quickly, simply. Put your hands together for me, just like this. Now, bring your fingers apart just like a goalpost here. Excellent. I want you to focus on that middle point there. And when I say, I want you to start to squeeze your hands together, because what's going to happen is that finger and that finger, I want you to imagine there's going to be magnets on them. And when you start to squeeze those hands and I click my fingers, those magnets will just start to come together. Make sense? Start to squeeze those hands now and start to discover now, seeing those fingers getting closer and closer and closer together. You can choose to resist it, but that's not why you're here. Allow them to sink and drift and flow all the way in deeper and deeper. That's it. Allow them to get quicker, faster, locking, tighter and tighter. Start to imagine now that there's a band going all the way around these fingers as they start to get tighter as you squeeze those hands tighter now, Mary. The tighter you squeeze, the deeper you go, the better you feel. In fact, the tighter you squeeze, the more stuck they become, the tighter those hands get. The tighter those hands get, the better you feel. If those hands shake, just allow it to happen and want it to happen as you keep focusing on that point there. As you start to squeeze, now you can squeeze tighter than that. The tighter you squeeze, they're locking now, stuck together, stuck like glue, stuck like super glue. Those hands are completely locked and stuck like glue. Now, in a wee moment, I'm going to count to 3 and try and get you to take those hands apart, but the more you try, the more you feel, because those hands are locked, cemented, glued, completely sellotaped together. Nod your head if you understand. 1, 2, 3. Try and take those fingers apart now, but the more you try, the tighter it gets. The more you try, the tighter it gets. And try and take your hands apart now. Really try. Don't fake it. Just really try and take those hands apart.
Oh God.
Try and take those hands apart, because the more you try, the more they feel. In fact, the longer this goes on, the tighter they get. Show the camera.
I can't do it.
Can you do what?
I can't take them apart.
Now you know there's nothing there, right? But the more you try and focus and take them apart, the tighter and tighter and tighter they get. But the amazing thing is, watch this. When I click my fingers, they come apart now. There you go. Excellent. So, give me your left hand for me. Excellent. Here. Just here for me. Now what will happen As you might come forward, your eyes will close. When I say the word sleep, but you won't go to sleep, you'll just completely relax, and I'll catch you so you won't fall. Is that happy?
Okay.
You're happy to be hypnotised. Excellent. So focus on this point here. So for everybody looking at home, I've just got Mary's hand here. It's just going to focus at the end here, okay? So I want to focus on here, and I want you to push all your body weight on me now. Push all your body weight. Come on, push down harder. You can push harder than that. Harder. Push all the way down. Focus here. Keep looking here. All the way down. Keep focusing. Pushing harder. Push harder. All the way down. Push. Keep on. You can push harder. Sleep. Deeper and deeper. Deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go as you sink and drift and float all the way down, Mary, to a wonderful state of relaxation. That's right. As I count down from 5 all the way down to 0, allow yourself to sink and float and just remember that amazing relaxation state from your therapy session. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's right. And you can just keep your eyes closed. I'm just going to sit you back in your chair to allow yourself to be completely loose, limp, totally relaxed as you just sleep all the way down, deeper and deeper. And in a wee moment I'm going to count to 3. When I count to 3, you're going to pop your eyes open twice as deep into hypnosis, and you'll look at me. And as soon as I say that word sleep, you'll instantly and immediately come back into this wonderful state of relaxation we call hypnosis. But don't worry, I'll catch you. Nod your head if you understand. 1, 2, 3. Eyes wide awake. Focus on my hand here. Take a deep breath in and sleep all the way down. Deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go. If you just allow me control of this hand, just allow this hand to be completely stuck, cemented, locked now here. Next time you open your eyes, that hand's completely locked tighter and tighter and tighter. Just like your hands, you'll remember it, just how tight that feels. In fact, the more you try and take that hand away, the tighter it gets. The tighter it gets, the deeper you go, the deeper you go, the better you feel. Next time I ask you to open your eyes, that hand is completely locked to your head. 1, 2, 3. Eyes wide awake. Excellent. How did that feel for you? Oh, you can move your hair. How did that feel? Try and move your hand. The more you try, the more you feel, unfortunately. That hand's a wee bit stuck. Stuck. Now, the amazing thing is, what's your name again? It's Mary.
It's Mary.
Mary. Now, I want you to focus on that feeling stuck, and imagine that feeling of stuck is now travelling down your arm, through your elbow, all the way through into your throat. And that feeling now of stuck just goes with your name. You can't say it. The more you try and remember your name, the more it becomes stuck. It's almost as if your tongue falls out your mouth. You know your second name, you can say that, no bother, but that first name was just completely stuck. What's your first name?
Mary.
Mary. Now, Mary, focus here. Take a deep breath in. And watch this. That name's completely vanished from your mind. It just goes far away. The more you try and remember, the more you forget. The more you try and remember, the more you forget. Really try. The more you try, the more you forget now. The more you try, the more you forget. You know my name. My name's Fraser. But you know your name inside your head, but you just can't speak it. It's almost as if that mouth and that phrase is stuck. No, that's it. That's right. What's your name?
Mary.
Excellent. So this is good. So when you look at people and you say, are things fake or put on, some suggestions stick, some suggestions don't. Take that hand away.
I can't do that.
So we'll try it another way as well. So again, some people really don't want to forget their names. So it doesn't matter how much you implement it, it just doesn't work. But obviously you're quite happy having your hand stuck to your head. You obviously don't mind that.
I feel totally aware of this as well though.
So take your hand off your head.
I can't.
Why? Why not?
It won't move.
Will it not?
Oh God, people are going to think I'm pure acting this. I can't take my hand away.
Okay, we'll do it this way. Let's take this hand here. Watch this. Look, if you just start to move that wrist like this, it just starts to do it all on its own. Can't stop that now, just keep moving it. Look, just goes all on its own. It goes faster and faster and faster. In fact, the more you look at it, the faster it goes. It's the weirdest thing. Now stop that hand from moving. The more you try, the faster it goes. And just sleep all the way down. Deep, deep sleep all the way down. Next time I'll ask you to open your eyes, Mary, you'll be completely back to your normal waking state, completely out of hypnosis, feeling the best version of yourself with the biggest smile on your face. All suggestions are completely removed. You'll be back to your normal waking state, feeling fantastic in every single way, shape and form. 0, 1, familiarising yourself in the room. 2, feeling a big fresh breath of thin air, feeling amazing in every way. 3, feeling like you're bathed your eyes in a fresh spring bath. 4, all suggestions are gone. And 5, eyes wide awake, back in the room. Whew, there we go.
Oh my God, that's mental. I'm totally aware of that though.
I know.
That's why I was saying to you.
That's what I say to people. You're not unconscious.
But I couldn't not forget my name.
which is completely, and that happens on stage sometimes as well. I'll give suggestions to people and they just don't stick, which is cool. But for some reason you were quite happy to have a wavy arm. And do you remember your hand?
A wavy hand. Aye. Do people not remember it when they do it? I remember that. I couldn't move my hand.
Remember, we've only been in doing something for 3-4 minutes. People I've got up on stage, I'm deepening them for about an hour to 90 minutes sometimes. So you can get so relaxed that you sometimes get a wee... Everything always does come back. Always does come back. Sometimes it can just be a bit blurry for 10-15 minutes, but you always remember it.
See, even the power of the hand thing.
Yeah, look, your hands are so powerful.
Like
now look,
mine.
Stuck, locked together, completely locked together. So the fact you've been hypnotised now is it's very fun to play with. So look, try and take your hands apart, you can't.
No, my brain thinks them to be like that.
But you're not hypnotised right now. But we are all hypnotised in a way, because what's explaining as in like missing your exit, or reading down a bit of information down a bit of paper, you can't remember it, or not knowing the exact moment you go to sleep. These are all forms of hypnosis. Now that you've experienced a hypnotic induction, you're now seeing that you can play with it and have fun with it in different ways. But now if we just do this, separate, there you go, it's now back.
Even coming apart, they weren't dead quick to come apart there. That's incredible. That is like beyond anything. I was totally aware of it. Like people watching this will be going, she's not hypnotised. I was totally aware of it, but I just couldn't control it.
Don't show them that £20 at the back of your chair.
That's what people think.
And what I always say to people is this: if you think it's fake or you think it's a lot of nonsense, absolutely fine. Come see a show. Please come see a show. Come see your friend, your family member, or even yourself up on stage, and then let that do the talking. Don't let me sit here and convince you. Come see a show.
Fraser, I love it. I'm coming. I'll be sharing your stuff. I can't even
Thank you so much for having me. I was so excited to come on and do this.
I know.
It's been so long. I know schedules and stuff.
And when you're a big, massive superstar, you can come back and do it again.
Only if you tell me what hubby does.
I will.
Right.
I will.
Peace. I'm away.
Bye.